Element Properties & Co was opened by myself and my brother Kos. We opened the office in July 2020, so just after COVID. We are an independent family-run business. We've built it off the back of our grandfather, who taught us to open a business based on honesty, communication and trust, and that's what seems to be faring well at the moment. We are a little bit different to your traditional estate agency in that we do sales, lettings, but we also have an in-house finance team, so that also assists us with our portfolio landlords, sort of in looking at wider refinances as well. We cover the North and East London areas, so I've been fortunate enough to see different markets through these challenging times. So I think there'll be a varied approach depending on the sector, being rentals and sales. I think the rental market as a whole will continue to increase. There is definitely outstripped demand in comparison to the supply of the current housing market, especially in the private rented sector. I do believe with the changes in legislation that are coming up, Section 21s, HMO licensing, being from selective, additional, mandatory, all of these, additional costs that landlords previously didn't face, mortgage relief going out the window for a lot of, buy-to-let landlords that aren't, don't hold their portfolio in companies, so their tax has just, skyrocketed. That's going to impact, I think, the supply chain even more so. So I do think that the rental market will become harder for applicants to find homes, and in turn will naturally drive up prices. So I think that is definitely something that in the coming months, will be maintained as it has been in the past year or so. On the sales side, I believe that mortgages will be slow for the next month coming into Christmas. I do not believe that that's something out of the ordinary, in my opinion. I think that is something that is seasonal and is returning to pre-COVID levels. We have had a crazy 2 years of market, and that is, it can't be sustained forever. I think the sentiment is that banks' fiscal years start in January, and I think that we will find more competitive rates come January, where it will facilitate more first-time buyers and that movement in the sales market. I think prices will come down to pre-pandemic levels. I do not believe that it's going to be sort of, this huge crash, as is sometimes reported. I think it will be something that, over the next year or two, we'll see the market steady and sort of flatline as to where it was sort of at 2020 levels, or sort of back end of 2019. So it's one of those things, unfortunately we can't predict everything, and if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be doing this. But from the data that we have and sort of the finance team we have in-house and the ears that we have on the ground, with regards to sort of what that market outlook looks like and the sort of statistics behind it, I think sort of sales will come back in, to a steady demand. Mortgage rates will sort of steady around, the 4 to 5% mark at a residential level. And I think buyers will just accept that this is the new sentiment. This level of interest rate is still comparatively low over 150 years of property data. You don't have to go back more than a couple of decades to see 12 to 15% interest rates. So I think it's just one of those things that we've been fortunate to have ultra low interest for a decade, and it can become a bit habitual to sort of think that that is always going to be the case. Unfortunately, that time has turned for other economic reasons, but I do think at the level that we're at, the lenders will find a change in their criteria to sort of facilitate the lending of money, as ultimately that's what their business is. They sell cash, so that's where they need to be providing a service, and without them doing that, then the market just simply stagnates. So I do see movement next year, definitely sort of at the earlier part rather than later, but time will tell. Key from the start is providing the best service possible to your clients. Communication, clear timelines to things, delivering on your word. I think estate agents need to be coming in with honest appraisals as to where the market is going to be. You know, we're not in the stamp duty holiday. You know, those sort of astronomical prices have gone. So we need to be realistic. And I think, you know, providing honest feedback on things is going to be super important. And having that communication log with your clients, either as applicants, you know, tenants, buyers, or sort of vendors and landlords. I think the biggest challenge that we will see for a lot of agents will be the selling up of private rented stock. I think we'll see sort of the standard landlord that owns, you know, the 1 to 5 properties in their personal name will start to offload. And I think, you know, if that was managed stock for a lot of estate agents, then that's sort of residual income that they may struggle to sort of replicate. You know, a sale on average is a 7-year return on your money. So, you know, whereas management is a yearly reoccurring part of your business. So I think, you know, potentially finding another investor, maybe an outlet to sort of keep that property in the private rented sector as opposed to sort of letting it, you know, just disappear. But again, we still need houses for first time buyers, so it's a bit of a lose-lose in that regard. But ultimately it all boils down to the service that's going to be provided by the estate agent. And I think as times get a little bit harder and properties don't sell themselves, I think that's where you'll see the difference between, you know, the good, the bad and the ugly in the estate agency world. You know, if you are providing an A1 service, then, you know, the tough times will help generate more business because vendors will see your level of service and they'll buy into the relationship that they have with you. So I think that's, you know, where the challenges lie. Technology is vital for us, and I think in general terms, technology is vital for everyone in society, but no more so than the real estate market and estate agency world. You know, COVID happening showed how tech can really, you know, influence change. You know, virtual tours, for example, you know, were not seen all too often. However, COVID happens, agencies need to adapt, these things become the norm, you know, on every single portal. You know, something like that goes to show where I think the market can really end up. The use of prop tech, you know, Fixflow, for example, for maintenance. You know, gone are the days of sort of having a logbook, pen and paper of what's been done and what hasn't been done. You know, it's all there for you with an oversight of a dashboard to know where you end up. You know, that facilitates growth and that facilitates, you know, the oversight of a lot of managed properties that, you know, you wouldn't otherwise be able to do if you didn't have that technology. So I think tech is super important to the industry as a whole. My opinion is that I think, you know, don't take tech for tech's sake. I think, you know, you need to be pretty smart and astute with what tech you decide to use and utilize in your business. There are some things that, you know, tech can't replace. You know, a person at the other end of the phone, for example, you know, that's not, you know, that's ultimately the essence of being a good estate agent. But there are definitely tools that we use in our line of work to really alleviate problems that would previously have taken hours are now done in minutes. I definitely think tech will change the industry. I think the modern estate agent is not modern if they're not adopting tech. I think there will be, you know, changes that we see that are significant from the tech that is coming and being introduced into the market. Having said that, as I sort of attained to before, estate agency is a people's game. So I think you will always need good estate agents. It's just making their lives and their efficiency and workload as best as possible to provide, you know, a great service. But I do think, you know, the people that don't adopt tech will find it difficult, you know, as there is new legislation coming out. You know, the likes of Section 21 changes, the likes of, you know, HMO legislation, potential rent controls, all of these things, there will be a tech there, or a prop tech in particular, that's going to assist you. And having that to lean on when you've got, a wide portfolio to look after is going to be vital. If you try and do things sort of the old-fashioned way, I think you're just going to either run out of time or find yourself going round in circles. So it will definitely happen to everyone. It's just sort of at what degree you choose to go.